Well, Bo?
All right. Terry Wilson. Terry Maxwell Wilson. Born May 1st, 1948. I've done this before.
Well, I would love to know, your thoughts on,
Mm.
well, the disaster. We'll just call it the disaster.
Yeah. Maybe sometimes we call it the loss. Maybe. No one ever. So, you're telling me in high school they don't teach that much anymore.
Yes.
And that's so prevalent still because we're only 60s and 70s now.
It's shocking how much I did not know. I had no clue who the presidents were, no clue when it really happened. I knew it was 70. I just wrote it off as in the 70s.
You don't experience it, that doesn't register if you don't experience. I mean, history's history, but it's still boring. Unless you live it, then it's different.
True.
And that's
You
why
only
we're
live
here.
once.
That's why we're here.
Cheers.
Cheers. So how did this come to pass? Well, I was declared an adult, emancipated when I was very young at 15, and I had to register for the draft when I graduated high school at 17 because it's the law. Because I was an adult. 18 doesn't matter. I was an adult at 15. So registered for the draft, and therefore, when I graduated high school, I didn't do anything. I graduated at 17, early. So I messed around and got kicked out of school and got drafted. And as most everyone was doing that at the time, 1966.
What a
18 years old.
silly question. My first instinct is to think, oh, was that life-changing? And I can't imagine. Of course it was.
Well, yeah, it was life-changing. I got a call when I was working offshore as a guy in the oil field, and I got a call on ship to shore. It was, congratulations, you've been drafted, from a girlfriend. So that was kind of shocking.
Now,
but
fast
anyway.
forward, what is it? Is it 20 or 30 years?
You mean now?
Mm-hmm.
From that point?
Yeah.
That happened when I was 18. Now I'm 70. So, 52 years?
That's the goal, right?
Well,
Yeah. But anyway. Let me get the beer bottle.
I'll edit this out.
Yeah. So 52 years later, I don't know.
52 years later?
Yeah, we're still going through counseling and
How long?
seeking peace.
What year did you win your medal?
I was in Vietnam from 1968 until 69, then back again to 70 until 71, and got out of the military, active duty military in 72 as a captain, and stayed in the reserves. I was a lieutenant colonel, and finally they keep you in forever, it seemed like. So it was finally, when I was 60 or 62, I was released from the reserves. So anyway.
Well, the more and more I read about it, the more and more it's so heartbreaking.
Oh, well, what is the most? My dad was a World War II veteran, 100% disabled pilot, flew P-47s in Europe. Got cannon fire and busted his forehead, and flew the aircraft back to Europe. Got a distinguished flying cross, a hero, but never talked about it when I was a child. I mean, he was just one of those dads that, he was a good guy, but really he
Every
just
dad has
didn't
his
have
faults.
a problem. He had a problem with the war,
Oh.
and I never understood anything until I came back, and I looked up.
Were you taught the political strategies and things whenever
Oh
you
yeah.
join
See, the
in?
first thing I did when I got out of the military, I resigned my commission. I wanted to resign my commission in 1972 after my second tour in '71 because I knew what this was all about. I knew what it was all about. It was
What do you think about communism?
well, communism is is a scare tactic that we use. We still use it to this day. The politicians do, and all it was about money. It's always about money. It really is. I mean, they sell it. Their spin is it's for our safety of our country. Well, we've never been invaded, so, but we have invaded a hell of a lot of people, haven't we? And still continue to invade people. So,
motherfucker is. Do you
we,
want to go get something to eat after lunch? If you want to. Yeah. No. I don't give a shit. We can go back out to the outside if you want
It's the
to.
best phone.
We got fucked up with somebody in there the other night.
I sure appreciate you.
no, sure, we ain't through. We ain't through.
Might be put on pause.
We're going about an hour.
Yeah, just relax, you old bastard.
Kind of cute.
Kind of cute. Kind of cute.
Talk to Mom.
Kind of cute.
I saw Molly. I thought that motherfucker was here somewhere.
Remember me? I'm Sarah.
Bones, I know you a motherfucker now.
Yeah, you right, buddy. I love you.
I can't keep up with it.
Hi.
Hey, Wayne.
I saw
You
Molly,
remember me?
and then I didn't.
You remember Sarah, don't you?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Wayne Barack.
Jarvis's niece.
Well, you
Sarah
know,
Davenport.
yeah, Bone always knows the best looking women, you know. Well, don't you?
Of course. I mean,
We were
better than you ugly guys.
we were talking about you a while ago.
Oh my God.
Who?
We was talking about Bone
Oh,
over
yeah.
at the table. And
What
I was
about
telling
him?
him, I was telling him about a story I
Tell
sent
him
to
this.
Reader's Digest. You want to hear it?
I do want to hear
This
it.
is good.
Leave that motherfucker.
Well, she's doing an interview for Vietnam vets,
I'm
That she
for
needs
John
a-
Brown University.
John Brown University. So
Well, I'm not a Vietnam vet, but he
You
went
should tell
over.
the
Yeah, but
story.
you
You tell
should
the
tell the
story. of
story.
it.
He went over 3 fucking times.
twice, but we're good.
Well,
You left
don't
that-
make a
you
liar
left
out of
that
me.
out.
Hey,
You
don't
left
make.
that out.
Hey, wait, hold on. Don't make a liar out of me over one time in Vietnam.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, here's you know what Shirley's is in Springfield.
Yeah.
He was down there one time. This is a true story. And I sent it in the Reader's Digest, hoping they'd publish it, and they never did. And you know, I don't know why.
I'm
I
gonna do a
think
zoom
it's
in.
a great story.
Sorry, babe.
You want to hear it?
I do want to hear it.
Anyway, he's at Shirley's, and
Hey, man,
he's,
come
he's
over and
playing,
kiss him.
he's playing pool. And you know how if somebody's staring at you, you just know it, you know.
Mhm.
And somebody kept staring at him all night long. And Bo gets tired of it. He goes over and he said, "Buddy, you've been staring at me all night long, and I'm tired of it. You better knock it off." The guy says, "Well, I know you." He said, "No, you don't know me. I never saw you before in my life." And this guy says, "I'll never forget your voice." He said, "You saved my life." And Bo says, "How's that?" He told him about this firefight he was in. Bone came in with a helicopter, picked him up, and took him out. And Bone remembered the situation. He remembered the incident. And I can't, you know, the guy didn't live here. He was here.
Kevin Slingerland lives in Elm Springs, actually.
Well, at the time he
At-
wasn't living
yeah.
here, was he?
Washington State.
Yeah, he's back here visiting.
Yeah.
Now that'll never happen again. It's like 1 and maybe 1 trillion. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
And but he remembered the incident. You know, and I wrote that to Reader's Digest, and I was disappointed they didn't publish it. I think it's human interest, don't you?
Oh,
Well, don't
most
you?
definitely. Most definitely.
Well,
You don't hear enough stories like that.
He's a hero of mine.
Oh, God.
I was
You're
like
blushing.
Bobo. No,
No.
you know that son of a bitch went over there and for our freedom. You know, I want to thank you for your service.
Hey, you're the man.
Well, I love old Bo. He knows
I do
it.
too.
He knows it.
We were talking about what we thought about communism.
I didn't know it was.
Communism.
I didn't know it was about communism. Vietnam was about communism.
Well, I'll tell you something. You know what prevents flu? You want to know?
What?
Marijuana and cocaine. Yeah, that's what got the other
Scotch.
Right.
They begin
Well,
scotch.
he put scotch in the gas tank.
Yeah, we filled up on scotch.
Hey, come here. Now, what would you do if you had Molly over there?
Oh man. Well, I had a dog. Believe it or not, I inherited this dog. He was about that tall, and the scruffiest. Of course, he had to be the scruffiest, looking a little ugly son of a bitch. And he got me. He was on me like I walked by this dog, and oh, there's a dog. There's 4 or 5 of us just walking through the company area, you know. Vietnam, I mean, and here's this, I never, from that moment on, right here. I mean, shit.
Was a
He
big
slept
dog
on
or
my,
little dog?
no, it wasn't that high.
Smaller than Molly.
Oh, God, yeah. Scruffiest looking, he ate a friend of mine had a pet sand crab. I mean, you got weird pets in Vietnam, right? He had a pet sand crab. He would put him in a little bowl and pour vodka in the bowl and put the sand crab in there. The sand crab would get all the vodka would be gone. His tentacles would be up in the air like
Pet
this.
sand crab. Can you imagine?
Shit-based sand
Like
crab.
a pet dog, a pet sand
Oh,
crab.
yeah.
No
I
shit.
had guys that had boas, constrictors, and
No shit.
yeah,
As
and
pets.
ocelots. Yeah, baby ocelots.
As
Oh,
pets.
yeah.
No shit.
I tell you, this guy had a pet ocelot or something like that hated me. I said, you know, if that fucking cat pisses on my
Did you kill
boots,
him? Did you go?
I blew his ass away.
Oh.
What a
45.
torpedo or something?
45, just
You know,
the last guy that come in, he ripped my blanket, my sleeping bag, and my cot. Just ripped it, hated me, you know. Because it pissed on everything as a cat.
Oh my!
I hate that about animals. You know?
Well, you got rid of him anyway.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Well, I'm
whatever.
glad I got to see.
I know you done a
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
got
Ray
30
Ray.
seconds on
You met me
the
before.
calendar. You got
Tables.
Ray
it.
Ray?
tables wrecked somewhere.
Ray Ray?
Yeah,
That's your name?
Ray
Are you
Ragsdale
listening?
actually.
Huh?
Ray Ragsdale is actually my name, but Ray Ray's what
Are
they
you
call me.
listening to me?
I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Oh, okay,
I
you look
got
very
you like
familiar.
20 seconds
Good
on
to
my
meet you. What's your
I
name?
know. I do.
What do you
too.
think my
Okay,
name
good
is?
deal.
We're gonna talk about catfish.
Sorry
We're
about
gonna
you.
go
You
eat
look so
lunch.
familiar. We've hung out
Never-
before.
you're being my
I don't
ass.
know.
We may have spoke potty tables
Got
one
it, buddy.
time.
Got it, buddy.
Me.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I'm ready for it.
You know
See
how
And
you
I'm not bringing Molly. We get drunk.
I
We
said-
are doing a presentation
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
back to the original story.
Yeah. Mhm.
This is the true story of
Oh wow.
one of our very best Vietnam
So
veterans.
there you go. That was Wayne Barak. I led him to death. Yeah, that did happen, and it was quite amazing that it happened. He's still alive, and his health is not good. I'm a very fortunate man that I'm 70 years old and have Agent Orange contact and all that stuff. But my health is so good. They keep cutting stuff off and making it plastic replacement, but it's working good. So I'm not bitching. It's a good thing. Yeah. Other than that, no. It's always a struggle for any veteran to adapt back. And nothing has changed now that we have Afghanistan and Iraq.
What would you say to your generation, like if you had children and stuff? What do you have?
Well, I have a child. She's 45.
But
But
like if there was
we've
a
never talked.
draft today.
If there was a draft today, man, there's so many crazy thoughts that go through my mind about that. I think every person, male or female, has a desire should spend time in the military. If they have the desire, it should be an all volunteer thing. The Swedes are different. They require 2 years. The Israelis are the same, but they don't have the population that we do. So we can say, hey, it can be all volunteer if we get the right people. And it's still amazing that they're still being sent in harm's way. But the hardest thing for me to accept is the way that all the veterans, male or female, are treated when they return and get out of the military. They're not being taken care of. It seems like a struggle to get things done for you, and especially if your life's been screwed up health-wise, compensation. It's better, depending where you're at, in the hospital. It's better depending on where you're at, what hospital you've got, but, there are places that I can't move in the United States because if something happens to me, I can't get the care that I expect.
That's true.
And so
that's pretty much
that's in the back of my mind.
That's
No
what
matter
a lot of
being a
people-
70-year-old guy, that's in the back of my mind. Like, I'm a 60% disabled vet, and I'm not going to go and pay for care in a hospital. It's due me, and it's 100% for me. As far as I don't pay any money because I'm over 50% disabled in the VA. So.
Was it dark whenever you were in on that helicopter coming down?
Was it dark?
Was it dark at night, or was it in the middle of the day?
No, it was in the daytime. We had operations at night, but we never went in and picked up. I put gunship, so I very seldom went in and got people. I didn't have the room. My thing was to attack. That's why I flew attack helicopters. They weren't troop carriers. They were attack helicopters. So it's different.
You were trying to attack other people in the air?
I had rockets and miniguns and everything.
From what, the Russians?
No, they were from the South, the Vietnamese, the Viet Cong.
Oh, really?
North Vietnamese.
They must have got them from.
No, they didn't have helicopters. They had the ability to kill us though with the weapons.
Oh, yeah, from long range.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's quite a sophisticated weapon. But anyway, yeah. But my job was to take off and go kill people, shoot people.
Yeah.
I didn't transfer people from one spot to the next. That's a slick. That's a troop carrier. I was a gunship, attack helicopter. I had rockets and miniguns, and when I took off, I was going to kill the bastard. That was my job. What are you going to do today? I'm going to try to kill some people. That's what I do. But anyway, and that I didn't know what that would do to me. You never know until later.
You have nightmares?
Nightmares? No. I have situations. Yeah, like if my knee hurts, I don't have a nightmare. I think
Visions
I'm shot down and captured, and they're hitting my knee with a stick, big stick. That's the nightmare that I have. It's only when something's hurting me. Do I have nightmares about dying? No. It's only when I hurt.
I have nightmares. It's the worst.
Yeah.
They keep you up at night.
Well, my deal was that for the longest period of time, I couldn't sleep. Still don't sleep. I sleep an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time. I wake up 3 or 4 times a night.
Do you?
Yeah, to this day. And that's not going to change. And I don't
find that
I don't have sleep apnea.
I always wondered, like, if certain commercials or sounds would all of a sudden, like, put someone
Sharp
back.
sound startled me.
Yeah.
Like
fireworks?
No, only if I know they're gonna not coming. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like if somebody sets off a simulator. Like this happened to me in Louisiana right before the 4th. We were crossing the lake from someone that was setting them off, and for the first couple of times, it's automatic.
Yeah.
Until you realize, well, he's going to be doing that all freaking next 2 or 3 days. So we just chill, relax. So, but It's a hard thing not to do. To flinch, to
Yeah.
duck.
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
You
I
think
mean,
it's gotten much better over the years?
oh yeah, because time,
Yeah.
time does a lot
At
of
first,
things.
were you like throwing over
Well,
candles?
it's like
Not candles.
even as far as 25 years ago, I was still. I mean, if something major like a big crack, I would be down under the bar. Now I just flinch and look.
Yeah.
I used to be down under the bar thinking, well, this is going to shit there. Because if you don't react, who the hell,
Yeah.
not yet. So,
Well, I think we're almost at
there?
yeah, we're there.
You say one thing. We're still, as a country, sending our boys and our girls overseas to do things that we as a nation shouldn't be involved in. And that's changing other nations to our sense of democracy. Well, that's been our problem. Still continue to be our problem. And we're going to have vets like me in 70 years. Guess what? They're not even born yet. We're still going to have wars, and they're still going to be screwing the vets because they don't know. They're just politicians. They don't go. They send us. And